Welcome to our first Literacy Fridays lesson for 2024. This is just part one of our series on media literacy. And for this part, we are going to look at what is media literacy. What is media literacy? Media literacy is the ability to analyze content from mass media and decipher if it is true and credible and if the source is reliable. Let me point out, when we're talking about mass media, we're talking about all sources of media, whether it be television, radio, social media, anything on the internet, it does not matter. Once it is delivering any sort of content through the current technology, we're considering it as mass media. The fundamental skill which is required for media literacy is analysis. Yes, we have to analyze content from across mass media. It doesn't matter if it comes in the newspaper or it was in the TV or it was on the internet. We have to assess it to determine if it is true and credible and if the source is reliable. And we're going to look at why we should do that. Now, I must point out that media literacy works hand in hand with information literacy, and perhaps one day I shall do a video on information literacy. It's a different concept, but it assists with our media literacy. So at the core of information literacy is that we should find the source, we should also examine the source, and then we should also evaluate this source. Now, information literacy is not always easy to go about because especially when something is posted on the internet, you have to really search the internet sometimes to find the original source. And I'm saying the original source as if the original source is not the source. But I can say something and I could be quoting someone else, but I did not credit that person. And then you come and quote what I said, and then it becomes a case where the wrong person has been credited for the work. And information literacy will say, let's get to the bottom of identifying the source of this information. With media literacy, though, we're not just looking at if the source is reliable, although the source's reliability may affect the content's credibility, but we're also looking at what about the content may or may not make this source reliable. So we're assessing the content and we're assessing the source as well. We should analyze all content. It doesn't matter if it's in the news, it's coming from a podcast, it's coming from a text message from your friend, could be on a website, a company's official website, it could be on the radio. Check all sources and check all content. Analyze them. Even established media houses make errors. Even established media houses will misrepresent a matter or will just omit important details to the point where it may cause the information that's being presented to not be credible. Especially as it comes to even images that are being posted. In this era of photoshopping, you can see a picture with your home, but with someone else featured in your home. Likewise, something can be tagged to a picture that makes the content so untrue. So we have to be quote unquote media literate, and in being media literate, we analyze content to know truth. And in knowing the truth, we are able to share truth only. And in sharing the truth, we're being wise and responsible citizens. And it's not to say that because we detect lies from a source tomorrow, we can't trust them tomorrow. But we will be wiser even as we navigate through the media space. So we'll know truth, so we'll share truth, and we'll be wiser even as we utilize media. For it's important to know truth, because even if we comprehend a lie and not know it's a lie, it's still a form of ignorance. For if a lie is published and we hold on to it as truth, we're still ignorant. Now, here are some tips for analyzing media content. First, we have to identify the source. Identifying the source will help us to notice biases that the persons may present. And they may present biases just because of their associations with others or their background. So when we identify the source, we're able to identify their point of view as well as who they sourced the data from. Next, we have to evaluate the source. And when we're evaluating the source, as we said, we note any biases that may be presented. And also if they are an authentic voice to speak on the matter. What is being presented? Is this source presenting it as first-hand information, or are they getting it from a third-party source that may not be credible? So we're noting the point of view from which the data is presented. Is this first person point of view? So maybe the person has limited knowledge even as first person, or are they getting it from someone else and reporting it as theirs? Then we also have to separate facts from opinions. So in analyzing media content, when we separate the facts from opinions, we're able to see if someone is presenting an opinion as fact, or they're able to note that these are facts different from opinions. So we are mindful of dates as well and descriptive words. The dates are important because something that was presented in 2010 may not be true in 2024. But when we note the dates, we can determine if this person was publishing the truth as it was at the time. We also have to note descriptive words. For example, especially in news items, we'll hear this word alleged. No, it's so different when somebody does not present that word alleged, because alleged makes a big difference to what is being conveyed. If you say that it's different from saying that it was alleged that that happened. And in this day and age, when persons just want things to go viral, they will delete a critical word like that, or they will overlook it even if they present it. So if we are being media literate, we look at these things. We're separating the facts from opinions. We're able to detect when lies and propaganda are being presented. And we are mindful of the fact that we won't understand everything. So we seek clarity whenever we don't understand. And we evaluate the sources of content. And of course, a part of being media literate is being responsible in how we share content. So when you're media literate, you do not readily share content before assessing its credibility. Remember, the true mark of being literate is when behavior is changed and you're able to impact your community, the wider society, in as beneficial a way as possible. So in being media literate, we don't readily share content before assessing its credibility. So we look at the news, but we analyze, is this fake news and is this worth sharing? What's the value in sharing it? Will sharing do more harm than good? And in sharing content, this means even content that we create. Before you post, is this responsible behavior? Do I understand the impact my words or just this meme may have on those who are viewing it or hearing it? And as I say, we may not always understand. So sometimes we may not understand when lies are being presented. But when we become media literate, we just question these things. So in sharing something, we may make sure to put a cautionary note. Listen, I don't know if this is true. However, I got it from such source, and at least it means that whoever you are sharing with, they will need to understand that. Don't take this as fact. That's it for today's lesson, folks. I didn't want to be too lengthy. Stay tuned now to see the results of last week's quiz. Congrats to those who made it to the leaderboard. Join me next week when I will look at terminologies used in the media space that may affect our media literacy.